Feyenoord, for their part, have international midfielder Peter Bosch back for this one. He missed the first leg through suspension, and they'll again lean heavily on the know-how, the former Spurs man Johnny Medford, their captain, but they've left out their main striker Josip Kiprich. That suggests a strong defensive attitude. 5 substitutes, of course, from both sides, 2 of which could play. David Tuttle coming into the lineup for Tottenham. The referee tonight is Kurt Rothlisberger from Switzerland, supported by 2 Swiss linesmen. Actually refereed a Spurs match earlier in this competition against Hajduk Split when that was played in Graz in Austria. And we're just about ready to go. Spurs tonight in a change strip of all light blue. When there's any sort of clash at all, it's the home side that changed. So Feyenoord in their traditional red, white and black shorts. It's De Wolf, but a header back to his goalkeeper, Eddie De Hoy. And really we come then to the most critical night of the season for Tottenham. A victory, I suppose, would disguise so many of their shortcomings of recent weeks and would plod them profitably into the semi-finals of the Cup Winners' Cup. A defeat, well, it's the end of the season for them then. Face the howls of anguish from their impatient fans, what they wouldn't give for an early goal here tonight against the Dutchman. Dury and Fraser, just a little touch back again to De Hoy. The first leg was slow and cautious and very negative, won by Feyenoord by a goal to 0. And Peter Shreeves, the Tottenham manager, looking for a much higher tempo from Tottenham in tonight's game. That's understandable. They've really got to take the battle to Feyenoord. This is Vitske, number 10. And Hues, really strong man who plays mostly at left back, up to Vitske again. Blinker, such pace down there. The one thing that Spurs must not allow themselves is to concede an away goal for Feyenoord. That really would scupper their chances then. Ian St John?
Well, already I think the tempo is much higher than it was out in Holland by, and exactly what Tottenham have to do. They have to raise the tempo of the game and really try and put a bit of pressure on the Dutch defenders. It's something they really didn't do in the away leg.
Abbott going for this one. A little foul there on Naeem. A free kick to Tottenham. And really it's for Tottenham the classic European dilemma, because they need to score goals to wipe out the deficit from the first leg. But they've got to remain cautious and firm in defence. They really have to keep that back door locked. Here's Sedgley with the free kick for them. Good atmosphere at White Hart Lane. This latest generation of Spurs players look for another great night of European glory, and goodness knows there have been many of these at Tottenham over the past 30-odd years. Gary Lineker suffering tonight from a really nasty head cold, but he's telling me his hamstring has completely cleared up. His legs feel really strong.
That was a big kick from De Hoy, wasn't it? And I wouldn't say there's any real wind here tonight, Brian. That was a perfect night.
Let's see what Erik the Viking can do. Torsfed hitting De Wolf with that one. Allen jumping but not connecting. Here's Howes again. Getting the ball once again through to Naeem, and again Naeem is down, and Howes also is injured. Didn't see how Howes picked up that injury, Ian. I was watching the ball, and
well, like you, I was following the play, Brian. Didn't see him. I think when he went in and had a tackle for him there,
just
looked very simple.
That, yes. I think the Dutchman may just have caught his left knee as he ran across him, but it was unintentional, but it's obviously very painful. And the last thing that Tottenham want, because Howes has a very important job to do for Peter Shreeves, just in front of the back four there, just to tighten everything down should the Dutch look dangerous. David Butler giving him the treatment. Is the Dutch wall line up there. Behind them, Eddie De Hoy, a 6'4" goalkeeper, a massive man. He had to duck when he walked into the dressing room tonight. Steve Sedgley is behind this one. Naeem also looks as though he might take a little pop at it. Naeem with a shot, but not a very good one. Straight into that Feyenoord wall. Knocking it forward again towards Lineker, but again De Wolf was watching it very closely, and De Wolf really marked Lineker so tight and so effectively in the first leg.
Well, the point you made there is very true, Brian. Lineker was shackled over there by De Wolf, and I think tonight Tottenham shouldn't really look to play the ball up the middle. They've got to look for width, and I see already there's nothing at all on Tottenham's left, and they're squeezing it in the middle, and I don't think this is right. I think to feed Lineker with some decent balls tonight, you've got to get some width.
Talmant. A free kick to Feyenoord, who lost in their own league at home at the weekend to Maastricht and dropped to third in the table behind PSV, Eindhoven, Bobby Robson's team, and Ajax of Amsterdam. Here's John Medhod with the free kick.
Did you see the goal they lost, Brian, at the weekend? What a shocker it was.
I didn't see that one, sir.
From our man De Wolf in the 6-yard box, trying to find his own goalkeeper with a casual pass.
This is Shelton. And again Shelton. The flag is up, he's offside. Talmant just offside. A few quivers there in the Spurs ranks.
Well, that was rather tight one there, Brian, and it all came away because of a poor clearance by a Tottenham player in the first instance.
Sedgley with the kick. Hit high towards Stewart, well up there amongst the front runners. Stewart again. Battling with Witzke. In goes Justin Edinburgh. And here's Jury. Down that left flank. And brought down and a free kick.
I want to see Jury doing more of that, Brian. I think down the left-hand side of the field is an area for him. I think he does some great running when he gets down there. And I think Tottenham should use him in that wide role tonight.
Right, well, here's the free kick. Floated in there nicely. Paul Allen trying to keep it going. But Hus, and a good break here. Blinker on the ball now for Feyenoord, but away comes Jury. He ran all of, well, 50, 60 yards there.
Well, that was terrific running, but I don't think we want to see the Tottenham forwards running back 60 yards, Brian. Midfield players actually got caught short there, and they were all forward. Somebody should have stayed as a balance.
Howells, Edinburgh. But he hit that straight at Shelton. Edinburgh again. Well, a foul given against the young left-back. Here's Medhod, man of the match in the first leg. Absolutely immaculate game he played. Bergson just ducking underneath it. Johnny Medhod, who played about a dozen games here during his career at Tottenham. He had a very fine career at Nottingham Forest, though. Played 116 league games for Forest, only 12 for Tottenham, and I think about 5 of those were as a substitute. Sedgley in, strongly. Stewart getting the ball back to him. Sedgley knocking it wide. Here's Lineker. It's gone past De Wolf this time. But Hus was there. He does look a strong man, doesn't he? He wouldn't tangle with Mr. Hus. So Deary with the throw. Stewart poised for it. Mabbott's in there too. Knocked back again for David Howells.
Well, that wasn't a million miles away, was it? That was a good effort. Again, nice little layback and a good strike. It'd be lovely if Tottenham could get an early goal, Brian, because that would just lift everybody here in the stadium.
It would do wonders for Tottenham's confidence. They've lost so often now. They haven't in fact won in their last 13 games, 9 of which they've lost. Although if you talk to the manager and the players, they'll tell you that it's their confidence that it's low, and their form has not been that bad. They've played sides here and they've outplayed sides here, but they just can't seem to be able to put the ball in the net, which of course is quite an important component. De Wolf hitting a long ball forward. Blinker hoping to get to it. Bergson running underneath it, and there was a little shove on Bergson by Blinker. Hughes. Edinburgh underneath this one, tangling with Sabah, the Romanian. Then hit by Naeem to Talmant, but Naeem got a good challenge in there. Stewart trying to keep it going for Spurs. Sholton on the far side, and it's Tottenham's throw. Gets to Jury. You can probably hear the Spurs fans trying to raise their side spirits. Jury lining up another long throw here for Tottenham. And a good long throw it is. Stewart tried to get to that one. And a little touch. Not wide there. In fact, it's Gary Mabbott who was right in there, but De Hoy got a touch in any case. And
there's Fraser down
there on Fraser. Stewart battling there. Mabbott with the touch. Mabbott, in fact, has scored one European goal this season for Tottenham in the first match against Stockerau. Yes. Stewart just dumping Fraser to the floor, but I must say, an excellent piece of goalkeeping by De Hoy.
It was.
They reckon that
Stewart can complain really there.
Not really. Looking at this goalkeeper, they reckon that Hans van Breukelen, the PSV Eindhoven goalkeeper, is due to retire after the European Championships in Sweden, and they reckon that De Hoy is very much in the frame to succeed him. And from inside, Eddie De Hoy's goal. Stewart does his bit of pushing and shoving. Mabbott gets his shot, and De Hoy's save. So a match that's very finely balanced. You fancy that Spurs, although home advantage has meant nothing to them in the league, they've done well. They've won all three of their European ties here this season. You just get the feeling that if they could get a following breeze, that this could be a much better night for them. They've been difficult times for Peter Shreves, but his spirit has remained high, and he's prepared to take all what the fans are shouting at him on the chin, as long as it doesn't affect his players or is directed towards them, and that's fair enough from a manager.
At the same time, Brian, I think the players have got to take it on the chin. They're the guys that are out there playing, and they're the ones that are losing, so, you know, they can't deflect and just blame the manager.
The crowds always blame managers.
Well, the crowd do, yeah, but I think the players have got to stand up and be counted.
Edinburgh with that header, and a good header too, to Gordon Jury. And another throw to Tottenham. Jury nicely placed to take it. He's thrown in one or two good long ones already. So no doubt about his proficiency with a long throw. His scoring has gone up a bit lately. He hasn't scored since December 4. Tonight would be an excellent night to break that sequence. Jury with that long cross again. De Hoy coming forward, only half fisting it away. And Hughes getting it away under close attention from Paul Allen. Another throw. This time I think Bergson will take it. The Icelandic star who's in for Terry Fenwick. Suspended after 2 yellow cards. Allen battling away with Hughes. Let's have a quick word from Howard Wilkinson. Your early impressions, Howard?
I think Peter Shreves will be fairly satisfied. I think they're playing the game in Feyenoord's half. They're winning most of the loose stuff. I think if Jury can get more of the ball on the left and keep running at them, you know, when he doesn't get past them, he's getting set pieces. And at the moment, they're looking as though they're working the Feyenoord goalkeeper. I think the long throws, the 2 long throws they've put in there have been a bit of a problem. They've had a couple of free kicks that I think have been a bit of a problem. I think they've got to keep the tempo high and keep working the keeper.
Thanks a lot, Howard. Here's Vitske. Talmant. Really do have to watch him. They know that well enough, though. Sholton playing it in, but hit it straight at Howells. Sabah on the far side, the Romanian World Cup player from 1990. Hart. Little touch through to Vitske. tackled by Mavett successfully. No, I didn't like that one, but that looked a perfectly good challenge to me.
Now, the referee has been a little bit pernickety, hasn't he, tonight? He's given fouls for lots of little bumps and nudges. And that was a super tackle. I mean, Gary Mavett saw the ball, slid in and knocked it away. It was a beautiful tackle.
Well, it's a free kick for Feyenoord, though. Could be a moment of crisis arising for Tottenham. They've brought everybody except Gary Lineker back. Planting it towards Sabal. Now Boss. Almost got it through to Talmant. Flag is up for an offside. Coming up to the quarter of an hour mark. Still 0-0 here in this Cup Winners' Cup quarter-final second leg. It means the Feyenoord still lead by a goal to nil from the first leg. Here's Paul Stewart. Little touch for Jury. Lineker lurking in the middle. But Jury with problems against Scholten. Howells, or rather Sedgley. Howells going in on that one. Ricochets to Medhod.
Well, Johnny Method's not been allowed the time and the space he had in his own stadium tonight. You know, he's been hustled out of it, which is good because, I mean, he just directed the play over there, didn't he? And it's nice to see that the Spurs boys are making an effort now to close him down.
A long kick again by De Hoy. Allen battling for this one. De Hoy's getting there before him. Well, Jury coming in there. Medhod and his goalkeeper caught a little bit between sixes and sevens. And just for a moment, there was an element of panic in that Feyenoord defence. Medhod wanting far more time than Jury was going to allow him.
You see the big centre-half, De Wolf, let the ball go over his head, Brian. I think you pressurise these people to make mistakes.
Oh, given away there to Blinker. Well, that was a dreadful mistake in that Tottenham defence. And Blinker equally made a dreadful mistake himself when offered a perfect opportunity to really, in a way, kill off this tie. I think it was David Howells who knocked that ball quite aimlessly and casually and directly in the path of the Feyenoord number 11. Now, that's exactly the sort of mistake the Spurs must not make. One mistake and it's punished, and Spurs basically are going to be out of this tournament.
Well, that is the kind of mistake you make, Brian, and puts you out of games. That was a shocker, wasn't it? Howells with a very slack back pass there looking for Mavett.
Well, it might just concentrate the minds a little bit in those blue shirts. Sedgley with that header. Stewart jumping for it and getting it. Saba on the far side, challenged by Naeem. A little bit tight in there, a bit frantic. Medhod looking for a little more time and being allowed it this time until Stewart got in there. And forward again towards Talmant, who climbs all over Edinburgh and concedes the free kick. Very noisy section of Feyenoord fans behind Torsvedt's goal. See them there. De Wolf underneath this one, wins it in the air, but it falls for Naeem, and then for Dury again, try to get it back once more, knocked in nicely there. Stewart once again, and Edinburgh linking up very well there, in fact.
The linesman had his flag up, Brian, but that was a good move by Justin Edinburgh. It's nice to see the young fellow following in there. Got in there, won the tackle. You can see the offside there, it's Naeem out the left.
Medhod, a long ball there. Bergson got to it. Witzke got there first. He realised that fullback wouldn't get an awful lot of purchase on that one. Here's Medhod right in there. Now an important job here for Sedgley to hold off Talmant, and gets it safely back to Erik Torsvedt. Stewart, Naeem, Edinburgh tried to get it in again towards Howells. Sabah on the break now. Leaving it for Hoyce. Abbott's challenge at least earned Spurs a little bit of breathing space, but Vitske again. Talented side, Feyenoord. And the flag stayed down that time. Sabal was just a little bit back on his heels, I think, maybe suspecting that he would get an offside flag. Bosch keeping it going. Sedgley. Stewart. Howells knocking it forward towards Lineker. Happening there with De Wolf. Allen going in there. And Feyenoord bring it clear now with Vitske. Flag stays down. Linker's going to get a cross in. Talman's waiting in the middle there. Vitke's in there too. My goodness.
To tell you the truth, but I cannot believe the linesman, because he was certainly offside from the first ball, and then when that shot went in, there was a player offside again, and the linesman kept the flag down twice.
Also, look at Talman on the far side. When the ball is played in there, you feel that he just needed to stick out a foot and plant it home, and does nothing.
Actually, we always feel when we watch Tottenham that they do play a very dicey offside game, don't they? And they've been caught a few times.
Good jump there by Paul Stewart. Stewart again taking it on his chest, looking to see what might be available in the middle, and De Wolf got the header in, but Tottenham get the corner. Crowd raises its voice in hope now. John De Wolf. So Dury's in there waiting. Howells has come up. Stewart's at the near post. Lineker and Dury are in there. Abbott's on the edge of the box. They're all coming towards it. A fist away, though, by the keeper, De Hoy. Sedgley didn't control it properly. Vitske. On the far side, it's Sabal. And Justin Edinburgh hooked that one away in the nick of time. A foul by Medford on Stewart. And a lot more action about this game tonight, Ian, than we saw in that first leg in the Feyenoord Stadium. A lot more pace about it.
Well, that's because Tottenham have raised the game, obviously chasing the goal. But Feyenoord on the break have looked a very capable team as well.
Sedgley with the free kick. Knocked on by Stewart. De Wolf getting it away. It's out of play. Stewart. Can Dury get in there? Come across now to Lineker. Now what can Lineker do? We'll look for a bit of magic from him. In the end, he was surrounded by red and white shirts because they know the problem he can cause. And Spurs get a free kick, an indirect free kick. An infringement there by Peter Bosch. And Manchester United and Nottingham Forest are drawing 0-0 at the City Ground. And Southampton are leading Norwich at Carrow Road in the Cup replay. Spurs have a free kick. Sedgley, a good drive, needed a touch, Lineker couldn't quite produce it. Allen gets it back to Courtney Bergson, knocked in there again. Stewart's header.
Well, that's the first ball that we've seen crossed in from the right-hand side, Brian, and that was from a very deep position. I don't think Tottenham really are doing themselves justice here, because Paul Allen's playing inside the centre circle, and there's absolutely no width at all. And I think if you're going to trouble this team, you've got to get a bit of width and get a decent supply of crosses coming in for Lineker.
It's a clumsy challenge there by Dury on Boss. And I think Dury's knee might well have caught Boss fairly high on the body. Peter Boss, in goes Dury. Oh yes, he probably caught him in the face, in fact. He's up and about, acknowledged the apology from Gordon Dury. Free kick for Feyenoord. Hart. And Tottenham's throw. There's a lot of football being played tonight. If you're recording a game, you have the facility to go to a video machine. Let's have a look at this first. De Wolf might come to Lineker. Knocked in once again. Tohoy is down. And if you don't want to know the scores in the other game in Europe, Liverpool against Genoa or Sunderland versus Chelsea, let's just put it on the screen for you. Just turn away if you don't want to know. And we won't spoil your enjoyment maybe later in the evening for more football. So there it is. And now we'll take it away.
You don't want me to comment on that?
And the Sunderland-Chelsea score is coming in now. And it's gone. All a part of the ITV service. Pierce. Oh, I can understand. Pierce is looking at the pitch and is saying, well, I couldn't trust it, and I can understand that they've got a wonderful playing surface in Rotterdam, I must say. He just couldn't trust that 6-yard area, and so rather than make a horrendous mistake, he put it to where it was safe. And it's a Tottenham corner again. Hart with a header. Sabao. Bergson challenging hard and winning against Talmant. 26 minutes of the game gone, 0-0 here tonight at Tottenham. Means Feyenoord are still leading on aggregate by 1-0. Havertz header. Stewart knocking it wide to Allen. Stewart going in. Challenge by Hoos was a strong one, but I think probably it was a fair one. Lineker looking for this, but De Wolf was all over him and hardly moves more than a couple of yards away from Gary Lineker all night. Sedgley, Edinburgh, just planted forward. Sholton, who's playing right back here, an experienced player too, gets it away quite comfortably. Howe switching it wide. Here's Paul Stewart again, crossed in once more. Lineker was trying to get on the end of that one, but again the defence was equal to it. Blinker coming back to help out against Bergson. Which way has it gone? It's a throw, or rather a free kick to Tottenham, and well, I doubt the referee will be happy with Blinker's attitude there. It's a kick to Spurs. And it just screeched past the far Feyenoord post.
Well, that was a brave effort, wasn't it, Brian? But I do think Tottenham will get something tonight if they can get some crosses in. That was a brave diving head and actually missed it. I think it came off his shoulder. Maybe we can see from there. No, he just got a flick on it, just got a touch. Now that's only inches away.
Havertz gets it back. We've really got a classic Ryder Cup football in the making here as well, because you feel that Spurs, with all this pressure, might just get something at the other end, but you fear they might let something through as well. Here's Stewart, brought down on the edge of the box, a free kick for Tottenham. Hart unhappy with the decision, arguing quite vehemently with the Swiss referee. This is where you would just love to have a Gascoigne, but Gazza's not ready, of course. As we were saying once before, though, Ian, Steve Sedgley hits a mighty good free kick. Naeem's behind this one. Dury also. Sedgley has stayed back, so it won't be him. Naeem looks favourite.
Well, Naeem had a go before and hit the wall with it. They may trust this one to Stewart.
Or to Dury.
Dury, rather.
Dury also into the wall. Naeem. with a chance to play it back in again to Lineker. Tried a little pass out wide again, but it didn't come off. And just look at this dangerous break developing now. Sabah on the far side. Talmant storming through the middle. Here's Talmant. They claim a handball. In the end, it's nodded wide by Bergson for the corner.
That Tottenham getting caught again there, Brian. When they've got an attack road, when they're up there for free kicks, everybody's charging forward and they're leaving themselves open to the counter-attack.
So corner then, Hart there, to Wolf in there too, the two big defenders. And Bergson denies them a sight of it. Witschke. That'll be a goal kick. You can understand their anxiety, wanting to get forward, wanting to get this goal sorted out, Ian, but it is a really dangerous game, and patience really is still the order of the day, isn't it?
Well, I do think that Gary Mabbutt there at the back has got to be pulling people around and making sure he's got somebody blocking in front of him there.
A foul on Stewart by Rothlisberger. His brother Richard is a Barcelona player. It's Sedgley then with the free kick this time for Tottenham. Still 0-0. Floated in towards Paul Stewart. Stewart getting just a touch fit. Oh, Lineker just hooking it a fraction wide, and again the Feyenoord goal escapes.
The linesman had his flag up, Brian, unfortunately.
Well, here's the free kick. Stewart's header. Came off Medhod actually, and Lineker just maybe a fraction offside, but again, so very, very close.
I mean, they're getting closer and closer, aren't they? You just feel that, you know, that a goal might come here.
I think in the 13 games where Spurs have failed to win the last 13, they've scored only 7 times. So that delicious moment and sound of the ball hitting the back of the net has been denied them. Well, let's give you the latest score from Liverpool. If you don't want to know the score, just look away for a moment. It's Liverpool against Genoa. And it's away now.
I think you'd be very fair to watching fans, Brian, who like to see one game and tape another. I think that's been very fair.
Terry Venables there. Justin Edinburgh okay. The only annoying thing is saying that we keep saying that. We don't actually know the scores ourselves. It's 0-0 here, we can tell you that. 1-0 to Feyenoord on aggregate. Naeem with a shot, cannoning off the defender. And Naeem will take the corner. Long toward Mabbutt. De Hoy again. Good safe pair of hands. Game that's being seen obviously in Holland as well, but live in Spain, Turkey, Norway, Indonesia, Hong Kong, France, New Zealand, Abu Dhabi, Iceland, Monte Carlo, and in South Africa. So warm greetings to all of you around the world watching this game from White Hart Lane. Spurs against Feyenoord in the Cup Winners' Cup. Medhod with the free kick for Feyenoord. Sabah. Just touch back. David Howes. Up to Lineker. Good header by him. Paul Allen knocking it on. Lineker battling with Bergson. Hoos coming in. Powerful left back. Losing it for a moment, getting it back to David Howes. Knocked on and a good ball by Howes for Jury. Now let's see Jury attack them, and he knocked it in early. Again, De Wolf was there before Lineker. And Bergson gets it back. behind the wall. Snuffing out the challenge of Lineker just for the moment. Sedgley. A lot of confidence there. The long ball towards Dury, tangling with Method. Bergson with the throw. It's done by Howells. Howells again. Edinburgh on that far side. And Savard chose his moment well. A little flick, but couldn't reach Fraser with it. This is Naeem on the far side. The ball still in play. The linesman's flag has stayed down, but the referee, who I would have thought was in not such a good position, the linesman still stubbornly refusing to raise his flag, but it's Spurs get a throw. And so stand by for another long throw from Gordon Dury. Stewart at the near post will be the target for him. Mabbott's gone in there as well. None of them actually get a touch on it. Sedgley will want to... miskick there by Sedgley. And again playing it in. Goose with a header away. Allen. There's Edinburgh. These isolated and dangerous breakaways that Feyenoord are making, but the majority of the game being spent in the Feyenoord half of the field. There's Naeem battling on the other side there. To Tarrant. This is Savard. Into the path of Peter Bosch. Back to Johnny Method. Now Feyenoord getting men forward. Spurs have got plenty back. Vichka. A little touch here is Sabal. Blinker, but the flag is up from offside against Blinker.
Feyenoord showing the skill there and their expertise, Ryan. Got a hold of the ball, knocked it around. I mean, they look a good side when they get a hold of it, don't they?
News that I'm sure will interest all Leeds United fans and our guest Howard Wilkinson tonight, that Nottingham Forest have gone a goal up against Manchester United at the City Ground. Naeem, still 0-0 here at White Hart Lane. Naeem hitting a long ball in towards Stewart. But again, good positive goalkeeping there by Eddie de Hoy, who's now down and injured. Maybe there was a clash with Stewart as Stewart went into that ball. The goalkeeper still down as Blinker takes it on now for Feyenoord. Blinker again, turning, looking to see who's available. Talment's available. Vichka's knocking it in there. An offside flag is up, but very late it seemed to me. And still the goalkeeper's down.
Well, De Wolf and Stewart were having a little discussion there when they walked away from the goalkeeper. Now, whether they felt that Stewart had injured him, I don't know. We'd have to look at it again.
Maybe we can have a look again at how it was that Eddie de Hoy gets himself injured. It was Paul Stewart who was coming in hard for that one.
Well, Paul certainly had his elbow up, but would you say he had it up to the goalkeeper, or just, you know, as he jumped, his elbow was out?
I think that's the latter is probably the truer version. That's the manager Hans Doye, who's had some problems. He apparently spoke out of turn earlier in the week about the club. There's strong rumours that whether Feyenoord win or lose tonight, he's going to be out of a job tomorrow, and that Wim Jonsson, the technical director, might well take over. Earlier this season, Doye, in fact, is 48 years old, had a heart bypass operation. He said, well, he might well pack it in at Feyenoord in any case. Well, the reserve goalkeeper, Harold Wappanaar. Saw him in action last night as well. I must say, he looked a tremendous goalkeeper as well, the number 2. But he is obviously taking a bit of time to bring Eddie de Hoy round. Still splashing water in his face. Look. Goodness, it's a fairly mild night here at White Hart Lane. He's in a bit of trouble. Showing sorts. 25 25-year-old. We saw his second season at Feyenoord. Came from the other Rotterdam club, Sparta. And here we see it from the other angle. Let's have a look at, yes, there was an elbow up there, but...
Looking at it from that angle, I would say that, you know, Paul Stewart certainly had his elbow up and knew the goalkeeper was coming by. You don't like to say that players deliberately use their elbow, but in that instance, I think if I'd been a Feyenoord player, I'd be rather annoyed about that one.
Well, happily, it looks as though De Hoy is going to be fit to go on, but not before he gets another sponge full of water. Well, it would be certainly in Tottenham's interest now to pepper a few shots in his direction, if that's possible, just to test his reactions.
That's, of course, if Mr. De Hoy is as badly injured as he made us believe.
Good point. Stewart. Coming to the last 5 minutes of the first half, and still Spurs are denied this breakthrough to bring them back on level terms with Feyenoord on aggregate. Still 0-0 here tonight. Stewart and Witzke. And Stewart was lying on the ground, whether something was thrown at him or not.
That was a bad foul, Brian, I'm telling you, that was a nasty, nasty foul.
But on Stewart after the...
seven went right over the ball to him.
Let's have a
And the
look.
referee was standing a yard away from
But
him.
I think Stewart was about to get up and something hit him in the face, Ian. Whether there was something that was thrown or not, I don't know. But he's obviously in trouble. If we can keep this going after that,
No, that was an over-the-ball tackle by the 10.
But now something, I think, you can see Stewart half getting up, I thought. No? Was he getting up here? If we just keep that, then he hits, then something is thrown at him.
Was it not Shilton that went by and knocked him? I think it was Shilton that kicked him as he went past.
Well, he's still getting some treatment, so we can have another look at it. That's how Stewart went down. Oh, maybe that's it, but it looks as though he's about to get up, and then,
And that was Shilton actually going by there. You know, the big number 7 ran past and gave him a whack. There he is. The guilty party. Now that was all getting their own back for Stewart tangling with the goalkeeper earlier.
well, it's, what is it, a goal kick to Feyenoord. Essentially, loose. Stewart up there again. Sabal, Witzke, to Talmont. Allen, oh goodness. I don't know whether he'd spotted Sabal coming in. And it was Paul's mistake with the first leg that really cost Tottenham a goal. When he lost his footing, going backtracking towards his goalkeeper, lost the ball, it went across the face of the goal. And Kiprish, who's amongst the substitutes tonight, put it in for Feyenoord. It's that goal that still separates these two sides on aggregate. Stewart's playing the ball now to Bergson. And how well Blinker came back there. Did a bit of challenging. Who's there too? The whistle's gone for a foul by Bergson. It'll be a free kick to Feyenoord. 2 minutes of the first half left.
The temperature's rising out there, Brian, isn't it? A few tempers beginning to be frayed.
It's still a very well-balanced cup tie, isn't it?
Oh, it's all to play for.
Here's Witzke. Cut out again by Stewart. Getting through an enormous amount of work, Paul Stewart, this evening. Here's Hart. Long, raking stride of his, getting the ball to Shulton. The fans giving Shulton a booing. They recognise what he did to Stewart. A little touch through here to Talmont. Talmont offside. Free kick to Tottenham.
I think Peter Shreve will be worried in case some of his lads do something silly now, because it's got to that stage now. There's 1 or 2 looking for players here.
Well, as long as it doesn't happen in the last minute or so of the first half, he's got a time to warn them at half-time about the need to keep their discipline.
I would like to think in the second half, Brian, that you know, Spurs might get a bit more width in their attacks. I do think that just playing down the middle is really playing into Feyenoord's hands here.
Sabal battling with Edinburgh. And a free kick given which way? I think to Tottenham. Sabal, the Romanian. With the header above Paul Allen. In goes Bergson. Fitchke. Spurs get it forward again. The little flicked header there, just glanced on there by Lineker to Stewart. And to really battle to get that ball, and then couldn't quite find enough on it to find Dury with it. And here comes Fraser. We've seen so little of him springing from the defence. To Scholten on the far side, defenders really getting forward here. Fraser's continued up there, now Scholten plays it in, nobody's there, Spurs get a free kick. With the throw. Playing a minute of time added on, and the referee unhappy with that throw. A foul one. Let's see whether Spurs can capitalise on that fairly quickly. They've hit Stewart with it. And a foul by Stewart, is that? No, the throw presumably not taken from the right spot. So that gives Dury a chance to get across there. These long throws have just occasionally threatened to unsettle this Feyenoord defence in the first half. Let's see if they can do it right on the stroke of half-time. It's a long throw. De Hoy again, good, fisting it away. Spurs getting it in there. The overhead kick from Gary Mabbutt. And a goal kick.
The goalkeeper actually is doing the right thing, Brian, coming for the long throws. We were saying that in the first leg, weren't we? That we thought the toss fed should have been doing that with the Wolves long throws.
Two minutes of injury time played. Stewart getting it forward again towards Lineker. There's that man De Wolf again, though. The Tottenham's throw. Bergson with it. Spurs need to make this pressure pay in terms of a goal sometime in the next 45 minutes. And Fraser. Here's Fitchke. Being chased by Howes. Still gets it down the line to Blinker, but Blinker makes a habit of running into offside positions. Norwich have now equalised at Southampton. Norwich have now equalised at Southampton, against Southampton at Carrow Road, and Matt Le Tissier of Southampton has been sent off. 1-1 there. We played 3 minutes of injury time here at Tottenham. Bergson needs to get that back, that's right, no mistake. Stewart jumping for this one. Bosch getting the header in though. Howes getting one for Tottenham. Allen trying to get in there, but Hughes is a real strong man down this flank in defence.
We may find in the second half that Paul Stewart pushes right up, Brian. I see at the moment he's the furthermost player up the field, and it may well be they've decided to do that.
Lineker, in the meantime, has come right back.
I don't think that's his best position.
Stewart, nice little touch. Dury, now can he get past the net? No. But Naim is there. Chance to cross one in, maybe. Naim's cross. Paul Allen is there, knocking it down for Lineker. Can Lineker finish it off? He caught it on the volley, but it was no more than a half chance. Spurs then still in this desperate need of an equalising goal on aggregate. A good knock down there by Paul Allen. And Lineker's volley finishing high amongst the crowds. De Hoy with the goal kick. Sedgley jumping for that one. Bergson getting it away to Dury. Will come for Naeem, trying to play a ball in quickly, but De Wolf was nicely positioned to take that one. Scholten now. Edinburgh very positive. Now Stewart again, touching it wide for Paul Allen. Half-time whistle. A cup tie where there's still everything to play for here. 0-0 tonight here at White Hart Lane between Spurs and Feyenoord. Let's hope Peter Shreves is right. Certainly it's been a terrific effort by Tottenham in that first half. A lot of commitment, but no goal. Feyenoord in the red and white then. Leading on an aggregate of 1-0 from the first leg in Rotterdam a fortnight ago. Trivia quiz where Ajax won the Cup Winners' Cup in 1987, were two of the players out here tonight. In fact, we're in that Ajax side. The number 7 Scholten and the number 10 Witschka. They beat Leipzig. Interesting that Howard Wilkinson saying, let's have a look at Gordon Dury down the left flank. It's really the sort of thing that you're thinking as well, Saint, isn't it?
Yes.
Gordon at the moment is right down those central areas.
Well, we're seeing the game probably a little bit differently from Peter Shreve.
Medford with the free kick.
But
I think, yes, a goal kick.
I do think, you know, that Howard's right in the sense that if you're going to give Gary Lineker the ball, I think it's better giving him the ball from near the byline where he's got a chance to at least get away from his marker and he's side onto the goal. But at the moment, when he get the balls played up the middle of the pitch, he's got this big fella breathing down his neck.
Little touch by Lineker, but in the meantime, Paul Allen had been slaughtered there by a defender. Providing a free kick for Tottenham. I wonder also how soon it'll be before they bring Paul Walsh on, maybe also to slip down that left flank, maybe in place of Naeem. That might be something that is in Peter Shreve's mind as the second half progresses, but in the meantime it's Justin Edinburgh with this free kick for Tottenham. Howes on the far side, got a good header in. Medford quite assured, getting it away into touch. Sedgley with the throw. Spurs wanting to keep on this pressure now, and a good throw it was, finding Stewart. Stewart getting it off Medford for a Tottenham corner. Now this is where they need to hear their fans. They need to get a bit of support. They need to keep the tempo up. They need, above all, to get that all-important goal. Floated in there towards Stewart. Didn't quite get a touch on it. Edinburgh playing it wide again. Scholten, it came off him, so it's a throw. Dury quickly getting across there. They sense they might be unsettled still by these long throws. So Gordon Dury, a long throw for Tottenham, up towards Paul Stewart. Trying to play it in there again. Scholten in the end getting it away. Really crowded in that Feyenoord penalty area. Knocked in again by Bergson. John de Wolf there. Now Paul Allen for Tottenham. Bergson's made a good break, and it was a dummy run. It just took that defender away for a moment and allowed Allen to get his cross in. Edinburgh again, planting it down this line. Here's Lineker. It's nicely taken by him. Then he ran into De Wolf. It came off the post. It's a Tottenham throw. Dury's gone across there again. Rather than the quick throw, they'd wait for Gordon Dury because they think the long throw might do damage. Spurs fans now getting behind the team. Lineker looking for that one opening. Witschka with a header away. Knocked in there again, just too high for Lineker that time as Howes turned the ball in.
Well, it's a nice burst of pressure by Tottenham at the start of the second half. Obviously, they've come out, pumped up, going to have a go, Brian, try to get that goal.
is Hus. Bitschke. So foul by Paul Allen. Great financial bonanza waiting both these clubs, or the winners rather, of this tie here. Financially very important for both teams. Tottenham's money troubles have been well publicised over the year, although the Sugar Venables consortium seem to be pulling them round now. But Feyenoord, I'm told, are something like £7 million down themselves. And another round of a Cup Winners' Cup. Well, they might be able to look the bank manager a little more happily in the face. Al's playing it on towards Naeem. Again, it's, as Ian was saying, it's so cluttered right through that middle there, where in fact the surface is less reliable. But now here's Jury down the flank. And he does like to take them on, and as Howard Wilkinson was saying, he does have the pace to do it. But the Dutch held strong there down that flank. Bound to get a result tonight. If it stays this way, Feyenoord go through. If Spurs can get a goal, we would go into extra time. And of course, if we're level on aggregate at the end of extra time, then we have a penalty shootout. But before any of that can happen, Spurs have got to score that vital equalising goal. Medhod planting it forward. Blinker on the far side yet again. For the umpteenth time tonight, caught offside. With a header for Tottenham. Bitschke. Al's to Lineker. Feet were a bit high there. Scholten, in fact, playing it on almost to Stewart. Good jump there by David Howes. He does get up so well. Tottenham's throw. Keep this pressure going. That's what we need to do, but again, remain very vigilant at the back. Here's Stewart. Just a little toe poke on. Lineker racing after it. Bergson supporting him. Here's Gudni Bergson. Now, what sort of cross do we get? Well, it's knocked out by Blinker, but it's a corner for Tottenham again. Naeem will take it. Mabbutt is forward. So too is Sedgley now. Rahoy. Up to Talent. But Mabbutt getting back quickly. Edinburgh playing it wide again. Stewart, a little touch on by him. Allen couldn't quite gather. Scholten's there. And a throw to Feyenoord. If you don't want to know the score from Anfield, let's put it there for you. And now we'll take it away, and you can turn around and enjoy the game here at Tottenham. Bergson knocking it forward. And a foul by Jury that time. Jury's goal touches completely deserted him, but I must say his willingness to work and chase and fight and battle for Tottenham, that's undiminished, Saint.
Well, it is a mystery that with the qualities that he's got as a player, that he's only scored 2 goals in 19 games. I find that quite amazing.
Hus with the free kick. Bergson, they covered a lot of ground to get that header in and to hold off Blinker. Stewart again, playing it wide. Lineker's gone wide this time. Needless to say, De Wolf has gone there with him. Scholten. Boss. Edinburgh. Lineker, no, he couldn't quite get hold of that one. Will Bergson get there first? Bergson a little bit back on his heels there. Blinker read that just a little quicker than the Icelandic man. Spurs in danger of giving it away. Then Bergson gets it to Mabbutt. Mabbutt plays it wide here for Steve Sedgley. Straight to Bitschke. Edinburgh. Naeem. Fraser just catching David Howells. Took a crack on the knee, if you remember, in the early stages of this game tonight. Free kick to Tottenham. Need to make one of these count. Stewart there waiting, very deep, wide on the far side. It's aimed towards Paul Stewart, in fact. Stewart got the header in too. Medford, it away. Talmont with a touch. Edinburgh holding him off well. Cross it there. Can Spurs finish it off? Stewart was waiting for the slightest error, but Bosch made sure the clearance was a good one. There he is again, but this time Howells almost got in there for Tottenham. And here's Feyenoord, beautifully poised for a counter-attack now. It's Vitska. No foul. News from the City Road. City ground rather in Nottingham. Nottingham Forest have beaten Manchester United by a goal to 0. Nigel Clough the scorer. And a score here, Spurs 0, Feyenoord 0. Stewart. Can Howells get in? Free kick given to Feyenoord. Good watch, Peter Shreves. Still plenty of time yet. The goal kick. Only just 11 minutes of the second half.
You must be thinking, of course, Brian, about doing something because, you know, how long do you let it go at 0-0?
Well, I think with Walsh, Samways, Scott Houghton, reserve goalkeeper Ian Walker and David Tuttle, defender, the substitutes, I think if anybody comes on in this situation, it's got to be Walsh and probably Scott Houghton. Or maybe Vinnie Samways. I don't know, he likes Samways as a passer of the ball through the midfield. But I think Walsh is probably a racing certainty to come on at some point if it stays this way, wouldn't you?
I would think so, yes. I certainly would push Stewart up front, get Jury wide, and just see if that little bit of a change, because Stewart's got a lot of headers in the box, but they've got to get a supply of ball into him, and I think it might be worth trying.
Howells, a long ball forwards. Naim is chasing, but Shelton is in pole position, quite comfortably back to his goalkeeper, Medford. Walsh, wondering if he's yet to have a night of glory here.
I think if I was him, I'd be out, running up and down the touchline, get myself warmed up.
Elsewhere in the Conference Cup tonight, Bruges of Belgium have beaten Atletico Madrid. It finished 4-4, but Bruges won on the away goals rule, and Werder Bremen have beaten Galatasaray of Turkey. So Bremen and Bruges are through. Monaco and Roma are still playing. And Feyenoord and Spurs make up the last players in the quarter-final stage of the Conference Cup. Havertz. Stewart. But his control let him down there. Vitska was in there. There was a foul by Stewart on the back of the Dutchman. Medford with the kick towards Talment.
They've opened the gates and the subs bench over at the far side. The Tottenham boys are out.
Lineker slipped. And all 5 subs are warming up there. Stewart. Scholten after it. Stewart showed too much of that to Boss. Lifted very quickly. Good work there. Scholten now trying to get it wide to Hurst. This is Talmont challenged in the first place by Bergson. Bergson finished off by Mabbott. And Tottenham gets a free kick. To a quarter of an hour, the second half gone. Walker, Samways and Tuttle, substitutes warming up there. Hurst again, Witschke. Paul Allen jumping there, winning it well in the air. Hurst getting it away, long clearance. Mabbott will guard that safely and knock it safely back to Torstvedt. Kick, knocked on by Dury, up towards Stewart, tackling away for all he's worth, and off Peter Bosch, they get a corner. More pressure, more anticipation. And are we going to see a goal? Here comes the corner, floated in. Howell's tried a little flick on, not this time. 0-0 stay here tonight. 1-0 to Feyenoord on aggregate. Sedgley. Stopped by Method. Sedgley needs to get back quickly. Sabal. Real tough little Romanian. Played in all but one of Romania's 1990 World Cup games in Italy. There's Johnny Medhod, Witschke, spreading it wide again, but too wide, Tottenham's throw. Walsh is doing some pretty energetic warming up on that far side. I think it's just a matter of minutes away from him appearing on the scene. Bergson backpedaling, gets it back. Actually, the two fullbacks haven't done badly, Bergson and Edinburgh.
Yes.
Fennick and Van den Hauer out suspended, of course. Lineker gets it through to Lineker again. A little touch didn't quite come off for him, but Spurs still got possession. Scholten, though, is Edinburgh again. Chased by Sabal. Edinburgh's throw. Sedgley. Hit long towards Gordon Dury. Beaten in the air by Fraser. Touched in again there towards Lineker. Beaten in the air that time by De Wolf. Howells again. Against Witschke. Didn't know where it was. Talmont chasing, but Mabbott. And Allen, we think, are coming off. Walsh will be definitely coming on for one. And Scott Houghton, we think, is coming on. But in the meantime, it's Lineker. There's the cross by Lineker. And Stewart's header just a fraction wide.
Exactly the thing we've been talking about, Brian. I think this big fella can win the game for Tottenham tonight, as long as he gets a decent cross. And here you are, it's Lineker, who's the man we're always looking to score goals, gets wide, knocks it in. There was Stewart, powerful header, and the big goalkeeper just had a look at it.
Well, Scott Houghton is
a beautiful cross.
Lineker plays it in. And it really was no more than 6 inches, and the goalkeeper nowhere. One of those, that's all Tottenham need. Allen leaving it for Stewart again. Played wide here, just one substitution being made. Howells off and Scott Houghton on. Allen. Naive. Knocked it back again to Mabbott. It's a good ball by Mabbott. Oof. Bit of kicking going on there. Whether Naeem was slipping at the time, whether he just wanted a little nudge at Scholten, remembering what Scholten had done to Paul Stewart in the first half. But it's served Spurs cause no good because Feyenoord get a free kick. So Scott Houghton's on. A couple of goals to his credit this season. Forward, then Stewart. Pitchkit after him. Stewart would have claimed there was a foul there by a couple of Dutchmen who were after him, but the Swiss referee saw it the other way. A slip by Bergson and a shove on Bergson.
That was almost a replica of the mistake that Paul Allen made over in Feyenoord, wasn't it?
Absolutely. Absolute replica. Except the Paul's was a lot closer to the to the goal than Gudny Bergson's. Sedgley. Sedgley playing it wide. Edinburgh knocking it in towards Dury, going in there with the goalkeeper. Quite legitimate challenge there by Gordon Dury. But the referee felt that it was a free kick.
It was a positive take by the goalkeeper, but again the ball coming in just from too deep, Brian. Spurs have got to work the ball forward and get it in from the flanks, a la Lineker before, and I think if we do that and keep this big fellow on his goal line, they can get a header in.
25 minutes are left now, just under. Is becoming a little bit of a problem now for Tottenham. One goal would be a holding operation, would at least take us into extra time. And hopefully the job could be finished off, but still that elusive commodity, the Tottenham goal, is nowhere to be seen. Spurs fans felt there was a handball there by Talmont. Naeem in very strongly. Spurs keeping it going, not wasting any time as Torsvik knocks that long ball forward. A touch there from Stewart. Back again from Lineker. Lineker trying to get it going once again. Allen almost throwing himself at Vitschke. It's like this now, you can imagine what the last 10 minutes is going to be like if it's still 0-0. Spurs absolutely throwing everything at Feyenoord. Here's Allen again. Bergson. Hit long towards Lineker, but it should be Lineker's ball. Lineker claimed that he was pushed there by John de Wolf, who wanted a handshake.
But Tottenham had the ball wide on at the right back position. They had two players wide on the right, on the touchline, who actually ran in field instead of holding the position wide.
Sedgley with the header. And again. Boss. Allen. But only as far as Boss again. Frank, the Dutchman's header. Mabbott getting it back. Boss, who joined them, in fact, from the French First Division club Toulon. He's just won his first cap for Holland. That was him on the ball there, the number 6. Sedgley. In towards Stewart. Touched on by Stewart. Lineker won't get to that one, but he's cutting off any route to the goalkeeper. And Spurs get a corner. They keep it in the Feyenoord half. They keep the pressure going. And Feyenoord themselves making a substitution now. Kiprich is coming on for Blinker. There was some doubt about Blinker's fitness, and you can see he got a quite a large strapping on the left thigh there. And the Hungarian international Josef Kiprich is on. He scored the only goal of this tie in the first leg in Rotterdam. Here's Scott Houghton. Can Dury get on the end of this one? He claims he was obstructed and had his shirt pulled by Fraser. The referee didn't see it that way.
Well, the two of them tussling for the ball here, and Dury claiming that he'd been having his jersey pulled, but you never get decisions like that. You never get penalty kicks or things like that in European ties.
Dury again. Now he does get a free kick though.
We'll give a million kicks outside the box.
I will take this one. Maybe it needs only one, say. Naeem. Stewart's in there. Lineker's made a darting little run. It comes off the head of Midhod. And then Boss. Naeem looking to turn it again. Then to get Edinburgh to play it long towards Paul Stewart on the far side, being watched by Vitska. Oh, good run by Bergson. Here's the cross coming in towards Lineker. Oh, and Mabbutt was right there too. And in fairness, Mabbutt must have felt that Lineker or Dury just ahead of it would have got a touch. And it came so quickly to him and he couldn't control it. But again, you had an example there with a ball flung in from the right angle causing problems. Midhod diving low to get that one away. But it was a super run by Bergson. And Edinburgh unhappy with Bosch's attitude. And a yellow card. I presume that's a yellow card for Bosch.
Well, what does Bosch expect Edinburgh to do? Just stand there and take the whack? The lad had to jump over the tackle, didn't he?
Naeem with the free kick. Spurs advancing in numbers there. Bergson knocking it in again towards Lineker. Wolf getting the better of him. Paul Allen with a shot. It cannoned off a Feyenoord player. Just wouldn't come to another Tottenham man. Edinburgh playing it in again. Mabbutt missing his kick that time. And Vitska with a chance to drag it away and bring relief to Feyenoord. Bergson once again is having a terrific spell at the moment. The Spurs crowd really getting behind their team. Scott Hart trying to find Lineker, but all he does is find the Wolf. Kiprish. Bosch. Talmont. And they're just going to bring Paul Walsh on in a moment and take off Naeem. Sedgley planting it forward again. Lineker first to show. Edinburgh playing it forward towards Naeem. De Wolf across there as well. Now Sabal. Kiprish in the middle. Talmont up there as well. Only 3 up and something like 7 back for Tottenham. But a good run here by Kiprish. But an offside at the same time. It'll give Spurs a chance to bring Paul Walsh on. If only the referee would notice it. Now I think he has. So Naeem goes off, Walsh comes on, and they tell me that Walsh was really flying in training yesterday. He's really keen to do well here tonight, and I've no doubt he'll take up a position away on this left-hand side. An added thrust now as Tottenham look for this vital goal with a little over a quarter of an hour left. Kiprish. Sedgley chasing. Talmont in there and Sabao in there. That's a goal kick.
For the old head there, taking the ball in the corner flag, Brian. It was good forward play. He was up there on his own, just takes it away up there. Kill a bit of time.
What you have to say also is, although we're urging Spurs forward and looking for them to get this goal, you have to at the same time admire the way that Feyenoord have defended. The organisation and the talent that is in this side, they really stuck to their job very well tonight as well, haven't they?
Oh yes, you've got to hand them some plaudits for doing that, but I still think that Tottenham, by the way they play, by playing down the middle of the field for most of the game, really have played into their strengths.
Bosch. It's a Feyenoord ball. Manager there, the coach of Feyenoord. Good header by Mabbutt. Scott Hart getting a little caught up there. Back to Mabbutt again. Torsvett. Long clearance now from the goalkeeper. Put more pressure on Feyenoord. Are they going to crack in the last 15 minutes? Lineker tried to get it through. Can Jury get on the end of this? No! Fantastic defending by Fraser. It looked as though Jury might just get a foot beyond him.
Well, it's a beautiful move, wasn't it? Stewart, Lineker, and then Jury almost just getting there.
Super defending here by Fraser, though.
Oh, it was a terrific tackle.
Feyenoord making a second substitution. Bringing on a defender, number 12, Ulrich van Hobbel.
The number 8 going off, Brian.
And it's Savard who's limping off. Van Hobbel, who came on, he plays normally right back. That's Savard who's gone off, and Van Hobbel, who comes on, normally plays right back. But here he's absolutely right up in a front-running position. Here's Lineker, the touch by Lineker, but Walsh really had no chance of getting that one. It was a little back heel by Gary Lineker that didn't have nearly enough purchase on it. Stewart, but Matt Hart was watching him closely. Well, we got the result from Roker Park. The cup tie there, if you don't want to know it, between Sunderland and Chelsea, just look away for a moment. Putting it up now. And taking it away now. Kiprish. Still 0-0 here, as you can see, 76 minutes gone, about 14 left. Vitska with the free kick. A rare excursion into the Tottenham half in this second half. Kiprish and Van Hobbel are there. Talent also, just the 3 up for them. And they've hit it long, but Bergson really get a touch on that. They beat Partizan Tirana of Albania in the first round with just a solitary goal scored by Peter Bosch. This is Feyenoord. And in the second round against Sion of Switzerland, they didn't even score a goal, home or away, but won it on penalties. And at the moment, they look as though they might just get past Spurs with a single goal here, unless Spurs can do something in the last 14 or so minutes. Scholten. Kiprish first to show to that one. Spurs just a little slow getting back, whether they thought the goalkeeper was coming for it or not. Kiprish, Van Hobbel. It's with Torsvett, looking for the long clearance, looking to exert more pressure on that final defence. Ed Hart, masterful again, the long ball away. Sedgley. Spurs are getting to the part of the game now, really, where they could take a few risks at the back, getting more and more people forward. Scott Houghton playing it in towards Stewart. He tried to knock it down either for Sedgley or Bergson, who was coming in quickly, but it didn't come off. Houghton. Van Hobbel. Edinburgh. Everybody now almost encamped inside that final half. Medhart, his football brain working overtime, nerveless clearance, under a bit of pressure there, deep in his own half, 34 years old now.
Class defending that, wasn't it?
It was. And that rubs off on others around you, doesn't it? You know, he looked so assured. Sedgley playing it in. Walsh tried to get up to that one. Lineker tried to get to it, but De Wolf was there. Lineker's just pulled off a little deeper, but De Wolf was with him. This is Gaston Talment. No foul as Bergson gets it back. Feyenoord thought there should have been a free kick for them there. And Monaco have gone through against Roma in another quarter-final. So Monaco, Werder Bremen and Bruges are 3 of the semi-finalists. Feyenoord or Spurs will fill the last spot. Stewart couldn't get to it. Lineker just got to it. Could Stewart get to this? It came off a defender, so it's a corner.
Well, at times the Feyenoord team are hanging on.
10 minutes left for them to hang on. 10 minutes left for Tottenham. It comes through to Paul Allen. He just chested on, but it comes to Paul Allen again. He turns beautifully. Good save by the keeper. Well, Saint, are they going to get this goal?
Well, I feel, funnily enough, in the second half now, they're looking more and more like it, Brian, and they just need a little piece of luck. Something's just got to happen for them.
Kiprich. Van Hubel. Foul by Walsh. Inside the last 10 minutes now. Feyenoord still clinging to the 1-goal advantage that they took from the first leg. 0-0 here still on the night. Edinburgh. Van Hubel kept it in. Here's a chance for Rothlisberger. That was a great chance for the Dutchman to put the tie way, way beyond Tottenham's reach.
Well, I must say that was a wonderful move, Brian. Beautiful dummy, and it was really too strong for the young fullback. Beautiful cutback as well. And he was going to burst the net with that one.
De Wolf. Sedgley. Back to Torsvet. On clearance again. Who's the first to show there? Kiprich. Very experienced Hungarian international, Kiprich. Some 49 caps. But here's Walsh. This is what the fans wanted to see. Somebody attacking those fullbacks and doing it with a bit of pace and a bit of flair. Walsh has got that ability, but he loses out this time to Scholten. Still not dragging very many forward. Dure is coming right back now to try and retrieve the situation for Tottenham. Scholten. Kiprich. Here's Paul Allen. Here comes Spurs again. Stewart. Lineker on the far side. Did you notice who was there with him? John de Wolf once again. Lineker. De Wolf right at his heels. Stewart. He's running his man and doing it well, Stewart. Can Lineker finish this off? Stewart's right in there. So anxious, Tottenham, to get a sight on goal.
They're knocking each other over to get to it.
And Medford just motoring clear and putting the ball through to Van Hubel. Talmant on the far side. Kiprich, the long shot. Hit with some venom on target. Torsvet nicely behind it. The throw out to Scott out. So here comes Spurs again, trying down the right flank. Lineker again faced by De Wolf. A throw rather to Tottenham.
You have to say that over the 2 games, De Wolf has played terrific against Gary Lineker.
Stewart. Couldn't turn it. Fitchke wouldn't allow him. Bosch to bring it away for Feyenoord. Up to Kiprich. Spurs still with 5 back. So there shouldn't really be too many alarm bells at this situation. What they need more than anything else is to get that ball forward again. But here's Kiprich. Sedgley getting it forward. Fraser easily getting it away. Up to Van Hubel. Kiprich in there again. The long ball this time. And Bergson allowing it to go for the goal kick. Sensational game at Norwich, apparently. It's gone into extra time, Norwich and Southampton, but now Barry Horn has been sent off for Southampton, along with Matt Letitia, so Southampton down to 9 men. Here it's still 0-0, with 6 minutes to go. Van Hubel is offside. Spurs have no time to lose. Get that free kick going.
Since Van Hubel's come on, he's given them another dimension, hasn't he? And they're looking actually more dangerous now when they break.
Fresh legs as well, Saint, you see,
Yes.
although he's normally a defender, but he's a big, powerful lad, and he's doing some good running down that flank. Bergson, stopped by Talent. Tottenham's throw. Jury's streaking across there to get that one in to try another long throw. Is this the way through for Spurs? Hart can't get to it. Stewart can't get to it. It's De Wolf again who gets it away. Bergson. Oh, hit that straight across. But Jury, through sheer determination, getting it back again. And then was unfairly hit by Talent. The tackle was a bad one. The referee wants a word with Talent. Spurs gets a free kick. Inside the last 5 minutes, Spurs still desperate for this goal. Scott Houghton with the free kick. Floated towards Stewart. Pushed away there. Mabbott turning it in again. Can they finish it off? Lineker was right in there. They get it off the line. Sedgley knocking it in there again. Sedgley once again. Lineker in there too. And it goes behind eventually for the goal kick. A clever little lob by Mabbott. Almost found the way through. But again, defenders there on the line.
Well, it really is breathtaking stuff now. And I said that Tottenham just need a little break, a touch of luck, and they're not getting that right. It's just not happening for them.
Well, the defender Fraser has been brilliant. He stopped Paul Allen, Jury just a moment ago, and it was Fraser who headed off the line that lob from Gary Mabbott. 4 minutes left. Spurs fans getting behind the team for one last big effort. Up goes Stewart. Flicked on there to Lineker. De Wolf's with him. Can Lineker get free of De Wolf this time? It's gone across for the corner. Lineker canny enough to know that he wasn't going to get much change out of De Wolf, and so let it run, and let it run for the corner. Mabbott's up again. Keeper gets it away. Can Walsh knock it back in there? Right on the line again. Stewart was in there, and Spurs were within a whisker of getting that equalising goal. Richka, I think it was, who somehow got up there and got it away. Another corner for Spurs. 3 minutes of the game are left. Up goes Spurs again. Mabbott was in there but couldn't make a contact. And Talman can bring it away. Wrestled to the ground there by Bergson, and a free kick.
Well, it's incredible stuff, isn't it? I mean, how this ball is not going in the net, I can't believe it. Because Paul Stewart came in there right underneath the crossbar, and there you are, just a touch and got it away from him.
Fabulous bit of work by Vitschke. Oh. Feyenoord fans are jumping up and down, anticipating a triumphant final whistle in about 2.5 minutes' time. Here's Kiprich. Unhappy with Edinburgh's treatment of him. Sedgley runs into Van Gobbel. Bosch, Kiprich. Knocked in there a long way across that goal. Spurs allowed that to go. Vitschke again. Can Talman finish it off here?
Offside.
No, offside is up. Not one but two. We're now left with 2 minutes on the clock. Desperate times these for Tottenham now. Out. Touch by him. In goes Allen. Got the better of Bosch that time. Bosch was caught sleeping. Stewart plays it for Allen. Can he get it across there? Oh, he stopped it with his legs. Quite a legitimate part of a goalkeeper's armour, mind you, but it's so infuriating from Tottenham's point of view. So close again. Another throw. Jury, a long one. He started the night with them. He's going to finish the night with them. And so far, Spurs can't find a way through from them. Edinburgh again. Jury again. Knocked in once more. They're lining up on the far side. The big blonde-haired De Wolf gets it away. And suddenly Kiprich, and only Scott Houghton is back. Spurs have taken the risk of pushing people forward. Still Kiprich, the wily old fella, keeping control. And then Jury went in rather heavily on Van Hobbel, conceded a free kick. And we're well inside the last minute. The referee might well add a little bit of time on for stoppages, but not much, I would fancy.
Well, the Tottenham fans really can't complain tonight, Brian, and the team didn't give 100% because you have to feel for them. They put everything into the second half. The excitement has been immense, and they just haven't got there.
So it's Ed Hodds with the free kick. Van Hobble going wide. Edinburgh desperate to keep the ball in play. That's what Spurs have got to do now. Get the ball in play, keep it in play, and get it forward as quickly as possible. Allen, but turning straight into Boss. Allen going back again as though his life depended upon it. Boss again, knocking it forward. Kiprich there, but Sedgley should get that back safely to Torsfet. The long clearance. We're playing time added on at the end of 90 minutes. Jury can't get to that one. Fraser just lazily puts it back to his goalkeeper. Didn't really see where he was. But De Hoy went wide of his goal to collect. A free kick to Feyenoord. Playing nearly a minute now of time added on. Begins to look now as though it is the Feyenoord fans who will be celebrating. Van Hobble. My, how Spurs have tried, particularly in this second half. They've given it everything, and they just haven't had that little bit of luck that goes with a lot of determined play. No foul. A long clearance. Only Lineker is up. De Wolf is going to get there first. And just hammers it like any good pro should in this situation, high into the stand. You can't score a goal from there. Referee looks at the watch again. It's almost up for Tottenham. Past Stockerau and Hajduk splits and Porto, but maybe not Feyenoord. Up goes Medhod, wins it in the air. Jury again. Knocked it in there, fisted away. Well, no, he didn't get much of a fist on it actually, De Hoy that time. Bergson battling for the ball, Talmont, and in the end, it's a throw for Feyenoord. Referee looking at the watch again. Up goes Mabbott, but Medhod beats him in the air. Scott Houghton. Now they just got to get the ball into the box now. But the final whistle has gone. It's too late, and Spurs are out of the Cup Winners' Cup. They threw everything tonight at Feyenoord. Gary Lineker and his men, they swapped shirts at the end. My goodness, De Wolf was virtually wearing Lineker's shirts over both games. But how Spurs battled and battled and battled and had none of the luck at the end of it that they so badly wanted. Feyenoord and their fans will celebrate. Spurs go off and think of what might have been. And now the season is really dead as far as they're concerned. But a great effort by Tottenham tonight, but not enough. Feyenoord go through.